Good morning. Well, it's Tuesday morning, and we usually don't film on Tuesday, but we were overworking on a tree, and we'll show you about that. We discovered something that I think I want to propagate. So let's go over and take a look. See what we did with the tree to start off with. We've got kind of a heavy amount of apples, and it was pulling, the two combined were pulling the apple tree over. So we have staked it out. And then this winter, what we probably need to do is to get rid of this limb and some of the lower limbs here to even out the tree. But I think we saved it because it was going to go over. I was back here working on the tree. I just happened to notice that our neighbor's English honeysuckle has found its way under the fence.
And is that long skinny thing there?
Yeah, that long skinny thing there. So I thought, I really like that. So I think I'm going to cut it off and we'll take it over on the patio. And I'm going to try to propagate some of this. I think it's so pretty. So let's go take a look at what I'm going to do. Okay, I've got pre-prepared here a jar of water, a little bug in there, and a jar of my prepared perlite with a little bit of dirt. And I have enough stem here that I can do several cuttings. One of the things you want for sure is something that hasn't bloomed, and these are not blooming stems, so they'll be perfect. I want about 6 inches. So I'm going to cut this right here, just below this node. Okay, now I want to make that 2. So I'll cut this one off here. Whoops, I kind of nicked that one, so I think I better bring it up here and cut it below this node. We'll take these extra leaves off. Remember, you don't want to have a lot of leaf material because that will take away from the moisture. So we'll just stick it right in there.
And you put it down the edge so that it's
it loses less moisture there.
yeah, because of the edge of the pot. Okay.
Yeah, and so I think I'll take this one, cut it off right there. There we go. This one I'm going to put in the water. Now this one, in fact maybe I'll put 2 of them. Can't decide what I want to do. 2 in the water or 2 in the dirt. I think maybe this one better go in the water.
So we got 2 in the water, and you got that short stubby piece there. Can you just stick it in the dirt and see what happens? Not that, the other one.
This?
Yeah, you can cut off just the nub down there, or just for the heck of it, shove the nub and everything in there. I know it's
just
not
like
way
that.
Yeah, I know you're not supposed to do that, but let's see what happens just for that.
Can I use your pen here?
No.
Here, I'll get it. Well, we'll see what happens, huh?
That'll be interesting. I would suggest then you might want to cut some of the leaves off of that, huh? Oh, you're going to stick that 3rd stick in there and see what happens?
Yeah.
Ah, how
There's
interesting.
not much to it, but it doesn't have any leaves either, so it doesn't have anything to feed the roots. So I don't know how good it'll be, but this is strictly experimental. So we've got a lot going, and we'll check back in 3-4 weeks and see if
how
we've
it's
got
doing.
any roots. We will keep this in the sunroom because the greenhouse is, maybe I'll put it, I think I'll put it on the windowsill by the sink. Well, yesterday we were propagating one of the neighbor's plants that had come under the fence. So now today I'm working on this iris. One of the things there's a couple of things about iris. One is they're a slug, not a slug, a thug. They're a thug. And what that means to me is they kind of get big and big and big, and they block out other plants. So I've got this iris right here in the middle, and I want to get rid of it. The other thing about iris is they will work to the outside. So there'll be old tubers in the center that aren't doing anything, and all the new young tubers are on the outside. So regardless, you need to divide it once in a while. Now normally we wouldn't cut this down quite as low as we did, but it would need to be cut down some to provide the plant an opportunity to establish itself without the big leaves sticking up and the wind catching it and moving it around. So we'll get this piece out here. Let's see if I can remove some of this dirt. And I'll set it over there and can move it to the...
I'll reach down and grab it, and I'll just set it over here in the wheelbarrow.
Okay, and we'll see if we can get this bigger chunk out here. It's a little more difficult than it might look.
Yeah, you're seeing us here having it come right up out of the garden. What you didn't see was the 20 minutes that we spent getting it to the point that we could take and film it.
Yeah, this one's just about ready to come out. Okay, this big chunk here, we'll slide it over.
And I will grab it.
And here's a little bit of it left that we didn't get.
Put it into the wheelbarrow.
Here's what you have to watch out for. Those
That's the reason it's a thug, is it just the little piece?
Oh yeah.
Look how much roots is on just that little bit. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think we've got it all now. So we'll kind of straighten this out a little bit. We'll go dig a hole. And iris doesn't have to have as much water as it was getting here either. There's a couple of things. In a really damp, cool climate, you'll want the tubers sitting right on top. In this climate where it's hot and dry, I cover the tubers up, or they bake too much. But they have to bake and get warm in order for it to bloom. So look at that. These plants have been liberated.
Yep, they're going to get a chance now to spread out. That'll be covered in by next year at this time.
Yeah.
Probably long before that.
To the backyard. Well, as you can see here, I have turned the hauling over to Al. That big old...
Where are we going, sweetheart?
We're going back into that corner over there.
Oh, okay.
That big old wheelbarrow of his is just a little more than I can handle. The hole is not going to obviously take all of it.
Move the camera down onto our walking onions.
Oh.
Because they're starting to produce really great for the salads now. Our second crop is coming around for the year. We're really enjoying the heck out of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get back here in this
corner. Gives you a nice gentle hint. As you can see also here, the tomatoes are starting to ripen. We're pretty excited about that. Notice my marigolds next to them. Now this is the back corner. It doesn't get watered by the sprinkling system. I do have some drip lines in here to give it a little bit of water.
I'll set these in for you.
Here's my...
Okay, you know...
Let me take a little dirt out of there.
Oh, sure. All right.
And we're not going to take all of that. Some of that is going to go join friends in the dump. Okay, now that we've kind of got it positioned, one of the things that I like to do is just give it a little bit of a haircut here. So we'll just flip it over on its front, and we're just going to clip off some of these longer roots. And that doesn't hurt it at all, and it will stimulate also further root growth. Well, there's one more. I think that's pretty good. Whenever you plant a plant, move a plant, whatever you're doing, one of the things is you definitely need to give it some water. And the reason you do that, well, for here, number one, this is pretty dry, but it also helps get the roots around tight.
In other
So there's
words,
not
it makes
air.
the soil settle in around the roots.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
but I'm also, with my heel on the outer edge, I'm going to pack the soil in a little bit. Now I've scraped the bark back here, so we'll just bring some of this bark forward. Okay, now instead of carrying water to this plant, I've set the sprinkler here. That way I can water everything that's in here, because every once in a while I do give it a good shot of water. This tree back here is fairly new, and but I think its roots are getting down deep enough that probably it's finding its own water. But I kind of like to give it a little shot of water once in a while.
Well, when we go by that, on to the next project, I'll turn it on and we'll let it run for a bit.
Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go back to this corner over here and show you another project we're working on. I'm going to need my nippers for that. And this...
We can come back and get that in a bit.
Yeah, we'll come get it in a bit. Funny thing is I don't remember what color that iris is we just planted.
We'll have
We'll
a surprise
find
in
out.
the spring.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a nice little iris bed here. I wasn't sure the iris would survive in here, but they've done good. So this is my new iris bed. When we moved in here, this was a big pile of rocks back here, and we removed the rocks and we've been kind of developing it. It has become the spot where we planted our hazelnuts. And you saw a little picture of the hazelnuts as it is progressing about halfway through the season. Funny looking little creatures. And they generally grow about 3. This tree has been really productive, as you can see. This tree over here, however, it gets some on, but they always tend to be a little small. And I don't know if it's nutrition or water or what, but I'm going to try to...
You notice this one over here doesn't have any dark spots in the leaves, and this one does.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything, but...
Well, I think it's not getting enough water, probably.
Could
Water's
be.
always the answer. Then back here, unfortunately, I planted this here early on, and you can't really see it from the yard. But this is my glorious hibiscus. Love it. And look at the beautiful things that are coming. One of the things I read about recently was that I can propagate this from cuttings, but I have to do it early in the spring before it gets buds. So maybe next spring I'll be able to get, but it's just, and these blossoms don't last very long, but it just keeps blooming and blooming. This also is where our irrigation comes in. And as you can see here, there's the irrigation And one of my challenges is to keep it accessible, which I haven't always done a good job of. This plant was a problem for a while, and we've whacked it way back. And I've been putting the branches over here rather than throwing them away. And I'm making a pile of branches and leaves as a cover area for some of our wildlife that might want to live here this winter. So this is the next one that's going to get a haircut. And what I've kind of decided with this one is I'm going to trim it good around the bottom and let it grow tall, because it will bloom. It's a Rose of Sharon is what it is, and it has pretty blooms on it. I cut them all off the other day though. This, I can't remember what this is, but maybe I'll look it up someday. And just cut down here close to the bottom. Get some of this stuff that's growing close to the bottom. And then I'll just take it and add it to my pile over there.
And you're just going to keep doing that through the summer until we get a pile up there for the critters to live in through the winter.
Yes,
All right. Well, that's it for this session of Gretchen's Garden and Greenhouse. Thanks for joining us.
Time for a cup of coffee.
I love a cup of coffee.
Bye.